Have you ever noticed how the same fight finds you, no matter where you go? The words change, the faces change, the room changes, the season changes, the small details rearrange themselves like furniture. And somehow the script is the same. You already know the first line. You know the tone that sets you off. You know the apology that will feel too thin. You know the ending where you're drained, shaky, half-empty, staring at a quiet screen or a quiet room, promising yourself you'll do it differently next time. And then, next time comes. That repeating argument isn't just stubbornness or bad luck. According to Carl Jung, it's a sign that something older is speaking through you. Not a demon, not a diagnosis, a complex. Think of a complex like a knot of feeling, memory and meaning, tied long ago, alive in the present. When it's touched, it pulls the strings of your voice, your heartbeat, your choice of words. Jung called that moment being possessed by a complex. Not horror movie possessed, human possessed. You, but with a narrowed field of vision. What does it feel like? Your chest hardens, your throat tightens, you talk faster or shut down. Your partner asks why you didn't text, and your stomach drops like an elevator. A coworker questions your idea, and suddenly it's not about the idea, it's about your worth. A friend cancels plans, and it sounds like a sentence handed down by a judge you can't appeal. On the outside, it's a small thing. On the inside, it's a door flying open to a room filled with old weather. Jung believed that a complex often carries a piece of your unlived past. Maybe it's your father's silence when you needed his voice. Your mother's tension when you needed her steadiness. The schoolyard laugh you swallowed. The church rule that crushed your question. The first heartbreak that taught you to expect the second. Complexes don't only store pain, they store decisions. Tiny vows you made to survive. I won't be weak again. I won't be ignored again. I won't be the fool again. Later, those vows become laws, and every shared kitchen, every office meeting, every dinner table becomes a courtroom. So when the same fight returns, Jung wouldn't ask, "What's wrong with you?" He'd ask, "Who's speaking through you? How old is the voice? And whose face are you wearing the other person like?" Because most arguments are really a triangle. You, the other person, and a third presence, an old figure from your inner world, projected onto the person in front of you. Let's make this plain. Daily experience first. You come home. A dish is in the sink. Your body tightens. You say, "I asked you to wash this." They say, "I will in a minute." You hear? You don't matter. They hear you're never enough. And then it's off. Two people no longer arguing about the dish, but about a history each believes the other is trying to repeat. Jung would say, a complex has been constellated. It's lit up, like a signal flare. Jungian explanation. A complex uses hooks, tones, words, gestures to grab the steering wheel. When your complex is constellated, your perception narrows. You don't see your partner as a full person. You see them as the old judge, the absent parent, the bully, the betrayer, the one who won't choose you. That's projection, an unconscious image draped over a living human. You react not to them, but to the mask you put on them. Now, practical application. The break in the loop doesn't start with the other person. It starts with your own recognition. The moment you feel that fast heat whisper inside your mouth or under your breath, a complex is here. Not "I'm failing," not "they're attacking," but a complex is here. That sentence creates a tiny doorway between you and it. You regain 1 inch of space. Second, pause the plot. The plot is the story that rolls out of your mouth without thinking. The plot wants to say, "You always," "You never." It wants to tally the past. Instead, ask one of Jung's shortest questions. What is the feeling asking for? Often, the feeling asks for safety, clarity, or dignity. You can say that. You can name the need without naming their failure. Third, change the posture. Literally, sit down or stand up. Put your hand on something solid, countertop, chair back. your own chest, and breathe into an anchor. Complexes live in speed and momentum. Anchors live in slowness and weight. You cannot fight a rip current by thrashing. You have to float, then swim sideways. Here's a simple move Jung would have recognized. Establish a truce word before the next storm. A word that means a complex is here. Let's shift, not to hide, to reset. Maybe it's lighthouse, maybe it's pause. You pick. Then practice a micro ritual, 10 breaths, 1 minute of silence, 1 sentence only. The part of me that is 8 years old is speaking right now. I'm going to let my adult voice join. That sentence alone can melt ice. Daily experience again. The same fight plays out over text. Blue bubble, gray bubble, hours between responses. Each hour becomes a courtroom minute. You reread your own message 10 times, watching for your own tone like a detective tracing a crime. And then, silence. Your skin hums with electricity. Jung wouldn't tell you to power through. He'd tell you to trace the sign back to its source. Who taught you that silence equals danger? Who taught you that delay equals disrespect? Recognize the teacher and the student in you relaxes. Jungian explanation. Complexes are not enemies. They are guardians who have outlived their war. They protect the child with adult weapons. They try too hard. They don't update. Shadow work isn't beating them back into a cave. It's inviting them to learn a new job. Instead of defense attorney, make your complex a weather reporter. Let it say conditions are stormy, visibility low, but it doesn't get to drive. Practical application. Try this sentence. The story I'm telling myself is, then fill in the blank. The story I'm telling myself is that your silence means I'm alone again. Or, the story I'm telling myself is that your correction means I'm stupid. You name the projection as a story, not a fact. Then you ask, what's your story? Now you're not two enemies arguing over reality. You're two authors comparing drafts. There's a deeper layer. Jung would ask you to listen for the archetype that rises in your fight. Do you turn into the warrior, swinging your sword at disrespect? Do you turn into the victim, gathering evidence of your smallness? Do you become the judge, pronouncing sentences and never staying to hear the appeal? The archetype has a light face and a shadow face. The light warrior protects the boundary, the shadow warrior punishes. The light judge seeks fairness, the shadow judge seeks control. When you can say, my judge is up right now, you step out of possession. You remember that you have more than one mask in the drawer. Let's bring this to the ground with a tiny practice you can keep in your pocket. Pick a small, comforting object, a ring, a stone, a coin, and give it a roll. It is the anchor. When the fight starts to loop, touch it with your thumb and say, quietly, anchor. Then, 1 breath in for a count of 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Repeat 3 times. After the 3rd breath, ask yourself Jung's question. What does this 8-year-old part of me need? Then ask the other person, would you be willing to try a 1-minute mirror? One person speaks for 60 seconds. The other mirrors back exactly. What I heard is, did I get it? Then swap. Simple, not easy. But if you do it when the fire is small, you never have to fight a house fire. You might say, fine, but what about when the fight is already huge? Jung would say, don't try to solve it at 600 degrees. Cool down first. Take space. Complexes feed on time pressure. They go blind under breath and time. Tell the other person, I need 20 minutes to let my adult return. I will come back, keep your word, and return. Sometimes the same fight repeats because it's not the two of you, it's the two of you plus ghosts. Family ghosts, cultural ghosts, church ghosts, office ghosts. The persona, the social mask, tries to keep everything tidy, but the shadow, the hidden, disowned part of you, leaks under the door. You say, I'm easygoing. Your shadow says, we are furious. You say, I'm independent. Your shadow says, we are terrified of being left. The loop is your shadow knocking. Let me in, not to destroy you, to complete you. And if you're thinking, this sounds heavy, let me give you something light. Make a list of 3 phrases that diffuse your specific loop, not slogans. Doorways. Try, I'm having a 1999 reaction in 2025. Or, the mask I've put on you is my father's face. Or simply, I want to be kind and I need to feel safe. Put them on a sticky note in your phone. Use them when the river rises. Mid-roll moment. Let me ask you something. What's the one fight you keep repeating and what do you suspect the complex behind it is? If this is landing for you, drop your story in the comments. Your words will help someone else map their maze. And if you want more of Jung's insights translated into everyday life, tap subscribe and like, so this work can keep reaching the people who need it. Now let's go further. Jung developed a practice called active imagination. Think of it as dream work while awake. If a complex keeps hijacking your fights, give it a chair at the table. Literally sit down with pen and paper. Write, you complex, what do you want for me? Then let your hand answer as if you were that part. Don't worry if it feels strange. Jung's patients felt strange too. Often the complex will say something like, I want you to never be humiliated again. Or, I want you to be chosen. Thank it. And then tell it your terms. I hear you. I'm the adult now. I will protect us. But you can't drive every time we see a dish in the sink. Let's agree on a signal. Over time, the complex softens. It begins to trust you. Dreams will help. Watch for repeating symbols. Flooded rooms. Too much feeling. Locked doors. Boundaries you don't know how to set. Phones that won't dial. Communication blocked by fear. The dream doesn't shame you. It paints a picture. Sit with the image in the morning. Ask, where is this image showing up in yesterday's argument? Bring the dream's calm, strange wisdom into daylight. Jung always believed your deepest mind is trying to help you, not haunt you. Let's touch the body, because your body carries the argument as much as your mouth does. Where does the fight live in you? Jaw, chest, gut? Before words, give that place a small kindness. Press your palm to it. Let your abdomen loosen. Let your shoulders fall from your ears. If you can, walk as you talk. Movement breaks the frozen posture that complexes love. And if you can't move, move your breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. A sigh that takes your heart off the hook. You may ask, what if the other person won't meet me in the middle? Then your work becomes boundary and blessing. Boundary. I won't argue past midnight. I won't accept names. I won't keep proving a love that never lands. Blessing. I wish you peace, and I won't be your lightning rod. Jung's path isn't people-pleasing. It's self-respect tuned to truth. Sometimes breaking the loop means leaving the loop. That's not failure. That's individuation. The long walk toward being who you truly are. And if you stay, or if you want to try again, build a ritual of repair. Not flowers over a crack. Real repair. 3 parts. First, name the complex that showed up. I felt my judge complex. Second, name the impact, without drama. When I saw the dish, I told myself a story that I don't matter, and I spoke like a prosecutor. Third, name the new road. Next time I'll ask for help before the storm. I'll say, I need to feel we're a team. And then, make one tiny change. Not a vow as heavy as a cathedral. Just one brick. Sometimes the repeating fight hides a simpler truth. You are not fighting about content. You are fighting about energy. Content is the dish, the email, the tone. Energy is, do I feel safe with you? Do I feel seen? Do I feel equal? Try naming it with startling plainness. Say I'm arguing about respect, not the calendar. Or I'm arguing about belonging, not the budget. You will feel the ground change under your feet. Here's a question Jung would slide across the table like a note in class. What year is it, in your body, when you fight? If it's 2003 or 1992 or 1979, who stands beside you in that year? Who is absent? Thank the ones who tried to keep you alive. Maybe that was sarcasm. Maybe that was silence. Maybe that was perfection. Then tell them, we made it. We can learn a softer defense. You might try a time travel check together. Next time your voices rise, one of you asks, what year is it for you right now, and who are you seeing me as? It sounds odd until you do it. Then it feels like sunlight through a closed curtain. You realize you're arguing with a ghost wearing your partner's shirt. There is also joy in this work, truly. Because when the loop breaks, when you spot the complex before it grabs the wheel, you get back hours of your life. You get back softness in your shoulders. You get back laughter after a hard moment. You get back the secret sweetness of ordinary days. Jung didn't promise a life without conflict. He promised a life with consciousness, fights that teach instead of tear, differences that become doors instead of walls. So next time the familiar storm gathers, the same sigh, the same sentence, the same speed, do 3 simple things. Name the visitor. A complex is here. Reach for your anchor. Ask for a mirror. Let yourself be older than the feeling. If the room is not safe, make it safe by stepping away. If the room is safe, make it sacred by slowing down. And when you lie in bed later, eyes open in the grey of the ceiling, thank the part of you that fought so hard to protect you for so long. Then ask it to learn a new dance. You can even smile. Because you are not repeating the same fight anymore. You are meeting the same teacher, and this time, you're listening. Jung would call that progress. I'll call it love. Love that begins in the quiet, in the breath, in the moment you let the 8-year-old sit beside you, but not in your chair. You in the chair, you with your hands on the wheel. You aware of the storm and aware of your anchor. That's how the loop ends, not with a lecture. With a decision to see what's really there and to stay human while you do. One last whisper as you go. You're not broken because you repeat. You're human. And every loop is a map. Now you know how to read it. Go gently.